G'day, Flosstube, Anna, aka Moranalis, back with another stitching update. It is Thursday, August 5th. Yes, it's Thursday, not Friday. The upheaval continues. Not a whole lot to report. I think I'm a week late on my update, but you know, there were islands to see and bushwalks to do and other sort of family activities, so I'm a week late. Don't actually have a great deal of whips this week, or this update. Have been largely focusing on the map as my main project, and then basically I have a travel project to go with it as well. And that's it. I don't think I've picked up anything else in the last 3 weeks at all. So, it'll probably be a very short update video. So, for anybody who hasn't seen it before, this is my big 20-year project that we are already running behind schedule. I saw on Facebook the other day that the 1-year anniversary of starting this piece came up, and I'm less than 5% complete. To be fair, I've often called it my 20 years after retirement, and I haven't actually retired yet. So, you know, clock hasn't started really. But I am hoping to make that 5% mark this weekend. I think I'll do it too. I'm at like 4.98. I should be able to manage 0.02%. Now, apologies in advance, because this piece is always just going to have threads everywhere, because that's the sort of piece it is. So, do my best to get it out of your way so you can see. I will have to insert a picture of where it was the last time you saw it. And I think in 3 weeks I've managed just about a full page's worth of progress. Last time you saw it, I'm pretty sure we had about, you know, the half page diagonal, and now we're to the next page about that same diagonal. So all of this M and stuff. So here, the page break runs here. So I must have been closer to over here. So all this is new. Bring it up so you can see it. So I can read that word, it's backwards in the camera. It says Felix, and then it says M-O, and the rest of the word is obscured. So unless it's meant to be like Felix, Missouri, I think Missouri is M-O. I don't know what it's meant to be. There's a lot of words and stuff on this chart that are pretty obscured, and you can't really tell what they're meant to be. But we are nearing the end of that arch, and I can just tell where I got threads hanging and stuff here. We're starting to get into the more proper greens and browns from the actual map motif. So that's pretty stinking exciting. I'm pretty pleased about that. This is done on just a massive piece of 25 count even weave. 2/1 half cross. So plan is essentially just to finish this page we're working on, and then I think I'm going to go back to the top row and fit at least a page, maybe 2. It'd be nice to fit 2 more, and then go back and do the 2 underneath that. We'll see how we go. But I think it's been quite nice having this map out in the evenings and stuff to work on. So I think it will just stay there as my primary evening piece, at very least until I finish this page that I'm working on. Maybe beyond, because I like it and I can do that. The other thing I have been working on is primarily as my travel piece. I don't really touch this one while I'm at home. Now that I've learned this whole parking thing, I got a few threads hanging everywhere on this piece too. Oh, that one's just because I stopped mid-thread. Is the Kooler Design Studio Bird of Paradise. No, Paradise Sampler, I think. I had a panic a minute. I didn't think the video was running. Yeah, Kooler Design Studio Paradise Sampler. Words are hard. get. So this is just done on a scrap of, I think we decided 32 count linen that I had floating around. And you can see I've actually made a fair bit of progress on this in the random bits of taking kids places. I've got a lot more flower up here. I think I've finished in all the little missing stitches in this bit of greenery. Obviously there's a few up here yet, and I'm doing, you know, a bunch more in the back stitching and stuff, trying to basically not leave all the back stitching to the end. So this has had, we're getting closer so you can see, a fair bit of progress. And you will see I've started the, well, what is charted to be 1/1 section down in the bottom, where you have that triangle blank will all get filled in with 1/1 stitching. I'm not actually doing this 1/1. I've decided to do, like the map, 2/1 half cross. And that is because the original charted pattern had some blended, so that of course it's 2/1 in those tiny little squares. And I didn't want to mix 1/1 and 2/1 when it was so tiny, and I thought it'd be obvious that there was an extra thread in there. Besides, if you go full cross, that's 4 times as many stitches as, you know, it would be normally 2/2. Whereas if I go half cross, it's only double the number of stitches. And I'm being lazy, to be honest. I'm being lazy. There's a lot of stitches in these things. No point in adding ones you don't need. So yeah, this is going to be 2/1 half cross. Let's see if I can get it to focus. It's awful blurry. Hold on. I will pause it, clean my camera, see if that helps. All right. It's not focusing real well, but I think it's a little bit clearer. You can see. So I've got a lot of parked threads in this section, mostly because with these itty bitty tiny stitches, I try not to skip too much. I don't like having to go back and fill in 1 or 2 little missed stitches, mostly because they're really hard to see and find. So I try to be real systematic about finishing, you know, that leaf entirely before I move on to the next bit, and finish this petal entirely before I move on to the next bit. Or at least, you know, make it a really obvious break between what's stitched and what's not, so that you're not working so hard to dig around and go, did I stitch that in? It's particularly the light colors. It's really hard to see the difference between the thread and the fabric sometimes. So that's the theory anyway, and that's why I've ended up with these parked threads that I basically didn't want to go out into new territory of the fabric where I really wasn't ready to fill them in entirely yet. So that seems to be working well enough. I am not quite a quarter, maybe an eighth, finished that 1/1 stitching. But again, like the back stitching, I was a bit worried that if I just left that center motif till the end, it would become a mental, I don't want to tackle this job sort of thing. So we'll get it started and we'll eliminate that little problem. Now, I am realizing I left my haul in the house. So excuse me while I go fetch that, and I will be right back. So a couple of weeks ago, there was a craft de-stash type garage sale in the local area. And I knew there were going to be some cross-stitch things there. One can always take a guess and figure cross-stitch and embroidery is always going to be well outnumbered by quilting and scrapbooking stuff. But I did know there would be some cross-stitch there. So I was super excited to go and have a look. And I did manage to find a couple of bargains. First up being a Teresa Wentzler pattern English cottage sampler. So no idea when I will stitch this. It's just basically going in the someday bucket. Not feeling any particular sort of urgency to start it, but at the same time, one does not pass up $2 Teresa Wensler, do they? I do hear rumor I missed a stall that had a whole bunch of other Teresa Wenslers and Miras and that sort of thing, which is a bit of a shame. I thought I had done a reasonable job of looking over stalls, but apparently didn't dig quite hard enough. Or maybe somebody else beat me to them. But I hear rumors there was more there. It is what it is. Next time. The other thing I was kind of keeping my eye out for, because I've started doing a bit more of the embroidery, I basically wanted a reference book of various stitches, both to figure out how to do these stitches as they come up if the instructions and the pattern aren't very good, or simply as inspiration, so that when I'm trying to do something like the Hawaiian garden chatelaine that I'm altering, I have something I can flip through and say, oh, you know, that stitch, that looks like it'd be really cool in whatever I'm trying to do. That was the theory. So I found two different options that kind of fit that bill. One was this A to Z of embroidery stitches. I am almost certain I have owned this book once upon a time in the past. Probably browsed through the pages about twice and got rid of it at some point because I wasn't using it. So, you know, it's a typical sort of thing with instructions and how to go through a bunch of different stitches. It's the knots you can't see. There's a chain stitch sort of thing. So yeah, I thought that would be good inspiration. The other one I found was this Complete Stitch Encyclopedia, which again, you know, it's full of diagrams and examples of various stitches. This one's probably a bit easier to kind of just browse through because you can see how the stitches look all on one page, and then the instructions are, you know, hidden in text. So you have a whole bunch, and I'm pretty sure they're kind of, yeah, classified. So, you know, these ones are all border stitches and these ones are fabric stitches. So you can kind of shortcut to the style of stitch you're after, I suppose. So that is my cross-stitching haul. I do have one other project in plan. I don't know, I'm not going to do the project. For those of you who remember, probably about a year ago or more, my daughter sewed me a purse that was made out of matte fabric, and I love that purse. It's awesome, best thing in the world. But it's starting to fall apart and look pretty shabby for taking to work. So we went fabric picking the other day so that I can get a new purse. I think I'll do exactly the same style. I'm going to ask a friend to make it for me. And this time, instead of maps, I'm going back to my marine biology heritage. That's what I studied when I was at university, and going with the fish. And so you can't go wrong with beautiful, bright colored fish, I reckon. So that, I think we'll do, that is the feature. Should have actually brought the purse with, so you could see the pattern, but you know, that'll be the primary fabric. We put a black cork with it, and then this fabric that just looks a bit like green water will go on the lining on the inside. So I need to organize somebody to make that for me, but I reckon that'll be pretty cool. So another project for another day. And I think that just about wraps it up for me. Like I said, a very short video today. I will hopefully see you in 2 weeks. I have no idea what's on in the next 2 weeks, so you'll find out when I do. All right? See ya, Flosstube. Bye.